Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of PKM Weekly. So let's see what's been in store for us for the past week. And this week I thought I'd mix it up a little bit in terms of the order, so let's start off with Tana. So Tana, they've got the Tana Current, or the Tana Office Hours latest update. And rather than a video, if you want, you can check it out in written format now. So Matt basically took what was discussed on the video and I just put it into a synthesized way in terms of a narrative document. So very good, so at least you can see exactly what's going on. I think this is very useful and very helpful, so thank you, Matt. And interestingly, what it does include is that now new users can sign up directly to the free plan, no trial or credit card required. So you can just sign up, a couple of details, your email address and a login, and you're good to go. So no need to input credit card details and things, which I think from reading the Reddit and other posts, it was something that was a bit of an annoyance. So definitely a step up in that right direction. They've also got a couple of Tana community events happening this Sunday, Monday and Wednesday. And the first up is the beginner drop-in session with Ev. So if you want to get a relaxed hands-on session to explore the basics, ask questions and basically just work together with Ev, just sign up here. It's on, I got it wrong last time, Monday the 20th of October at 7 AM for me. So if you click on the link, it will show up for you. And 60-minute session, planned to be weekly, and Ev will just guide you through, share live demos, and basically build up your skill and your knowledge of Tana. So definitely worthwhile signing up to that one. And then Mark, he's also got the Node Novella, which is a Tana build session. So turn your scattered notes and fragments into cohesive narrative for a book, blog, film, or whatever you are doing. And again, click on the link here. It's a Google Meet, 22nd of October at 3 PM my time, so whatever time that is for you. And again, worthwhile signing up because there's always some great stuff coming out of this. Next up was a post on Reddit which says what's going on with Tana, and it's been a while since I've seen anyone comment about Tana. I was following the initial launch and I was convinced it was going to become a great tool and a widely used tool, but I haven't heard anything since what's going on with it. So that was the wrong one, this one here. So you can see here, a couple of the comments are destined for failure because it's way too complicated to use to become a mainstream product. That follows on quite a lot of comments. Heavy user, but there's some things which are too fancy. So basically something to take into mind that if you are using Tana, check out this blog post or this Reddit post. To see what other people are saying, but it seems to be heavily geared towards it's just overly complicated to use still. I know Tana and the team are doing things behind that to try and alleviate the learning curve, but for the time being it's still perceived as being overly complex. So that was Tana. Next up is Capacities. So what they've introduced is Kanban View. So it's a highly requested feature, Kanban View, and obviously we spoke about last week the Readwise integration, but that's just been made a little bit better. And you can now visualize your notes in a slightly different way through a Kanban. So you can see here, book library, to read, reading, review highlights, and read. So you can basically see it in a Kanban style. And there's a few more things which have been added. Let's just go here. So the Kanban View, you can see different examples, people, object, and you can sort them out by the type of person, type of people they are. You can see it in various different things with the meetings, and obviously we spoke about the Readwise integration last week, but that is nicely taking shape. So some great stuff coming out of Capacities in the past week. The team has also got a question for Capacities users out there, and they're wondering which note-taking or PKM app you used before you found Capacities, and or what app you are still using in conjunction with Capacities. So if you are interested in giving some feedback, just follow the link. It will bring you to Discord and a thread here, and then you can just put in your comments or see what other people are saying. So well worthwhile giving your thoughts if you want to help the Capacities team out. And finally, bulk import from other Markdown and other apps. That is now being in progress. So in the roadmap or the canny board, the team has now marked it as in progress. I think this happened over the past week. It's been a while since I have checked the bulk import, but they are looking to enable importing from other apps, which should make actually using Capacities a lot better. So hopefully that will be with us. Next up is Obsidian. So there's a video of living PKM system, showcase of my Obsidian vault. So there's a video just going through the structural changes that the user did in the past month or so, and basically talks through how they use Obsidian. 35-minute long video, goes into quite a lot of detail so you can see the structure, see the layout that they're using, and the type of things that they do in Obsidian. So if you are in doubt or you want to see a use case, definitely do check this video out and the series, because there's a few more videos as well of how they're using Obsidian in their day-to-day lives. There was a blog post of 3 ways I use Obsidian that have nothing to do with actual note-taking. So one of them was a hub for local files, a media library, and retrieving and contextualizing information with AI using Obsidian Copilot. So rather than just using it as a dumping ground or as a place for note-taking, OP uses it for something slightly different. And in the blog post, they do go through the detail of how they've set it up and why and how they do it. So if you are wondering, or if you're interested in using Obsidian for more than just note-taking, definitely do check this article out. Another couple of interesting Reddit posts that I found this week was my Obsidian of 18 months and tips I learned along the way. So 2,300 notes, 9,700 links, and 3,800 and change tags. And you can see it here. And the good thing is that OP goes through the very detail of how they've set it up and what they do. And there are a number of comments, a very popular post, 900 likes, and a number of comments as well where they go into even more detail of how they've set it up. So if you are in doubt and you want to get some first-hand information of someone that has been using Obsidian substantially for the past couple of years, definitely worthwhile having a look at this Reddit post. And the other post was, anyone else feel that the Obsidian mobile is really unintuitive? So they've been using the Obsidian app for quite a while on desktop and really love it, but the mobile app, Android in OP's case, it just feels off. And again, things like quickly capturing for notes is clunky, browsing through the extension isn't smooth, searching doesn't feel natural, even just opening the app to get into thinking mode takes more effort than it should. And they compare it to Google Keep, which I have to say is very useful. You open it up and you're there, you can take notes and off you go. 151 comments, so yeah, definitely worthwhile having a look through, and there's even responses from the Obsidian team with their thoughts and some ideas. So if you want to try and shape and mold the mobile app going forwards, definitely jump on this thread and give your comments. And that was it for Obsidian. So let's talk about Logseq. In the past couple of weeks, it's not last week, I think it's the week before, they published a high-level roadmap. In fact, we can check exactly when it was. 23 days ago, so about 3 weeks ago, they published a high-level roadmap which goes through the things that they're looking to implement. So obviously quite a number of things have already been done. They are now currently working on the RTC and different views and the MCP server. So you can see there what they're planning to do, what they're hoping to do, and at the various different stages that they are at. So worthwhile keeping an eye on this thread and on the roadmap. And if there's any updates, I will post it. So just to give an idea of what Logseq is up to. Anytype. If you are in doubt of Anytype and what you can do, just definitely check out Daniel's video on what things I like about Anytype. So it's one of his favorite applications, and in this video he talks about the things that he likes about this note-taking app. So he goes through the pricing, stages, the various different features which are quality and that he finds useful within Anytype. So definitely worthwhile having a look at this one, and recently they have made quite a few updates, and especially chats. So I've heard good things and bad things. I was a little bit against it to begin with, and I'm still on the fence, but other users have said it's great because they can write notes and chat messages on their notes which they share with their partner and family. So maybe that's something that I can look into more and see if it's useful. Next up was Heptabase, and there's potentially, or there's talk maybe about a Zotero integration coming soon. So I found this through the Discord, and what it says is they're asking users for input on Zotero integration. So things like how, when we sync, do you want your notes to be stored? So you can see Alan yesterday for academics or academic users who want Zotero integration, blah, blah. Would you like Zotero collection to be a whiteboard or a tag? And then a follow-up was, if it's a journal item, do you want it into a note card or some other source card? And a few more. So there's definitely something that they're thinking about. So if you do want some sort of Zotero integration within Heptabase, definitely check out the Discord and give your thoughts and suggestions to the team, because I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Orca Note, it's one that I haven't really mentioned in the past few weeks or months or so, but there's been lots of updates and we're now at version 1.42, and this last one includes bug fixes, media timestamps, paste as rich text, focus parent block, insert PDF, and a number of different things. But it's not just this latest update that's worthwhile, it's all of the combined updates that Seth Yuan has been putting together in the past months or so. Lots and lots of things being added to Orca Note, and lots of quality updates. So, I mean, you can see here there's an update every week or so, and maybe sometimes even more than every week. So definitely worthwhile checking out Orca Note if you haven't already done so, and seeing what that app is up to. Noteey 1.34, that's just been launched, and it's been billed as possibly our biggest ever update. I think they've already said this in the previous updates, but we'll let them off this time. And it really is because it includes properties, and databases are finally here, and amongst other things which the team has added, but it's really, this update is about properties and databases. And as usual with Noteey, you can see a video of the demo of how it works and various different things that have been added to Noteey. So a great update from the team, and I look forward to playing around with the properties and databases function, because I love it. In Obsidian bases is fantastic. Capacities already does it built in, and now it seems that Noteey is already adding properties and databases function. So some great stuff on that one. AFFiNE, it's one that has been quite quiet of late, but finally they've shipped version 0.25, and it helps organize documents, leverage more powerful models, and enjoy improved collaborative feature. So now you can have a doc icon, so you can add various different emojis to different document types. Not really an update to me, I mean, it's just adding a little bit of color to the notes, but the other ones are very good. So MCP server is now possible, simply just need to select MCP instant integration, and you can use things like cursor and other things. Claude Sonnet 4.5 and Gemini 2.5 Pro, that's been added, and now you can also insert an AI block within the main text. So you can see the various different updates from Twitter here, what it means in terms of the doc icon, the MCP feature, additional models for AI, and insert the AI into the block. So nice to see AFFiNE is still kicking about, because I did think that the project kind of went dormant, but it's nice to see that they are around and updating it. And last but not least, Thymer. So open many notes and tasks in panels for the serious multitasker. So I think this is great. So let me just put that back to the beginning. Just a quick video. So you can see here different panes. You've got the search, the status, and the daily note. And what they do, if I can find the mouse, you can see now, zooms out a little bit, see even more notes, organize them, see things at a glance very quickly, reorder different notes in different places so that you can then focus on whatever it is that you want. And it just basically makes things a lot easier to use. Unfortunately, though, there's still no app. So they have let us know that there's now 29 key tasks that are required to be completed before they open the doors. So we are getting very close. So looking forward to that one. And in fact, I did say last but not least, but before that, I just wanted to say thank you to Dan for being the latest subscriber. So check out Dan's work, and I appreciate the subscription, Dan. Thank you. And I mentioned to Dan, it's great quality of work here. So definitely look into that and see if there's anything that Dan can do to help you. That was it for this week. So thank you very much for being here, and I shall see you next week. Bye.